Okay, hi. My name is Crystal Lynn Bell, and I am a spiritual life coach. And I wanted to take a moment to make a video about the lifestyle of a spiritual life coach because it's kind of fun. It's not kind of fun, it's really fun. It's what you make of it, but it's also kind of hard. So I want to talk to you about this process, and I'm going to try to keep this video short. But it's probably going to end up being about 15 to 20 minutes. So let's see if I can keep it in under 10. That's not going to happen. Okay. So here's what I absolutely love about being a spiritual life coach. Freedom. Freedom to be where you want to be, freedom to make your own hours, freedom to create what you want to create, freedom to set your own financial goals and achieve them. It's really wonderful. Like, there's so much freedom. I didn't know that I craved freedom until I actually started experiencing it. And I think I first really tasted freedom, or recognized that what I was experiencing was freedom when this was just recently when I went to Greece and found my dog. Now, I'm sure I've told you that story about how Spirit called me I was in Costa Rica and I got this wild hair, to go to Greece. And so I booked the flight to Greece and I went to Greece and found a dog and was like, oh yeah, I'm keeping this dog. And then I went to Croatia and now we're living in Italy and actually we're visiting in California. But that's just it. This is what I'm kind of really talking about. Freedom, I didn't know what freedom was, but freedom is the ability to follow your heart. Oh my God, I'm getting teary-eyed. I'm feeling that really intensely. Freedom is the ability to do what your heart says. Oh my God. That is so powerful. Oh, because so many people don't feel free. They hear their hearts and they want to do what their hearts say, but either time is an issue for them, money is an issue for them, fear, limitations in their mind. These are all issues for them. And so instead of being able to follow their heart and simply doing what their heart says, they create all sorts of lies in their minds about why they don't understand their heart. Like, oh, I don't know what my heart wants. Yeah, you know what your heart wants. You're just too afraid to go for it because you don't have freedom. You think you don't have freedom. We all have freedom, but we just don't know how to use it. We don't know how to access it. This is why I'm a spiritual life coach, because I get to help people find that freedom for themselves, to find whether it's freedom to travel, freedom to have children, freedom to have a child on your own, freedom to live your life as yourself independently, where you're not answering to someone else's ideas of what you ought to be, where you own who you are and you're free to be who you are and to know that you are lovable and still deserving of love, even if you're not conforming to someone else's ideas. That's my job. That's my job as a spiritual life coach, to help people, whatever it is. For me, it's helping people be more in their divine power. This badass butterfly, that's my concept. Badass butterfly is a person who has gone through transformation, has broken free from the cocoon of the old self. That's my thing. I know it's a lot of people's thing, but I've made that the focus of my discussions, the focus of my writings, the focus of my programs. It's all about breaking free from the old self. I was free to do that because I'm a spiritual life coach and nobody tells us what to do. We answer to source energy. We answer to our higher selves. We answer to our souls. And it's our job to take care of ourselves, not to be perfect. I tell you, if another person comes to me and says, well, I can't be a spiritual life coach because I'm not perfect, I am going to wag my finger at that person and say, stop it, wake up. Nobody wants to be coached by somebody who's perfect. We want to be coached by somebody who understands what it is to feel low, to feel depressed. Do you know how awful it is to talk about your emotions and the pain you feel with somebody who has never experienced that kind of pain? When they're sitting there looking at you saying, well, why can't she just, sorry, no, not okay. Nobody wants to be coached by somebody who thinks their shit doesn't stink or who doesn't get you. I don't understand who you are. I'm going to coach you though, because I'm perfect. For me, no, I've never experienced that, but you don't need to experience that. Just disregard your past. No, that's not the way it works. As a spiritual life coach, and this again is freedom. You have the freedom to be who you are and to own the pain that you've been in the past and to own the pain that you're in today. In my videos and with my clients, I'm constantly sharing my experiences of pain now because it's going to help my person. It's going to encourage them, to let them know that they can feel safe to feel that way. My pain validates their pain by mirroring to them their own experience. My pain teaches them the way I deal with it because I embrace my pain. I'm not afraid of it. So when my client sees me looking at my feelings of sadness or my grief or my feelings of inadequacy, I'm entitled to feel inadequate. I'm free. I'm a badass butterfly. And if you think that being a badass butterfly means that I'm perfect, go look at butterflies outside. What do butterflies do? They are flying against the wind. They don't fly like this. No, their wings are fluttering. They have to catch currents. They have to go with the flow of the currents. They aren't like, they're not like, well, even hawks, right? They're not like a jet, like, oh, I'm going to go over here. Boom, boom. That's not the way butterflies do, like a bee or like a hornet, right? Those guys are much more boom, boom, boom. No, butterflies have to go with the flow, right? We have to be sensitive to the way the wind is going, and we have to listen and intuit. We're trying to get to that flower over there, but sometimes we got to go like this and like this and like this and like that to get there, and then we get to that flower. Then we can stop and we can drink and savor, and everybody stops and they come and look at us because we're a badass butterfly and we're all gorgeous and stuff, and we got the long tongue, we're sipping the nectar of the beautiful flower. Yum. That's it. That's being a spiritual life coach. All spiritual life coaches are badass butterflies. No, that's not true though. Some spiritual life coaches are phoenixes. This is another beautiful thing about being a spiritual life coach, a spiritual life goat. You could be a spiritual life goat if you want, if you wanted to be, or you could be a spiritual life coach. Okay. But what I'm trying to say is you get to find your spirit animal, connect to it, and make it your own. And that's a beautiful, beautiful experience, because as a spiritual life coach, it's kind of like your job to really unite with nature. And again, there's freedom in that because nature calls you on all sorts of wonderful adventures. And, you have the option. Do I go? Do I follow nature? Do I follow this feeling in my soul? If I do, where's it going to take me? Will I find myself in Italy on a farmhouse surrounded by cypress trees, olive groves, wild oregano, wild strawberries, and other frutti di boschi, frutti di bosco? You never know. For me, that's the way it is. The way I follow my heart to the degree that I I check in. Everything gets run by my heart. What clothes I'm gonna wear, where I'm gonna go, what I'm going to eat. Although I have to admit, okay, so I'm getting ready to. Hey, I have freedom. I can share my flaws with you. I am eating so much right now. Oh, like a caterpillar, right? Like I'm still eating, but I need to stop eating so much, because otherwise I'm going to break out of this cocoon and my body's going to be way too big for my wings to carry me. Oh my gosh. I think I've put on 20 pounds. But you know what? The thing that feels really great about this is that it feels like it's a part of my healing process. I needed to just sit down, be still, and relax. So, okay, I told you this video is going to get long, but actually it's not so bad because I'm kind of done. I'm just going to tell you another story. And I'm going to tell you why I'm in California right now. So I came to California in November because in August of 2019, I was out walking Apollo in the morning. We were in Florence at that time. That's where we live. We live in Florence, Italy. And so I was walking on this beautiful street, and we were about to walk up this hill, and I got this really strange feeling. Oh, it really breaks my heart. I'm feeling myself getting teary-eyed again. Um, there was this feeling. I remember looking up, and I remember thinking about my mother and my grandmother. And I remember thinking to myself, my mom died like 7 years ago now, but I remember, and my grandmother is still alive and she's almost 90 years old. And I remember thinking, I must talk to my grandmother. I must talk to her. And so, I made my way through my walk. And then I went to, when I got home, was it later that day? No, it was kind of really like within a couple of hours of arriving home, I got a message from my aunt saying that my grandfather had died the night before. That would have been at 7 o'clock in the morning in Florence, and so he would have died um, that evening at about 8 o'clock. Yes, so around that time, around that time that I'm having this thing of I really need to talk to my grandmother, my grandfather is passing away. So big. So anyway, at that time, I get this very strong feeling that I must go visit my grandmother, and that was in August of 2019. And so I was launching a program, and I was thinking, okay, how am I going to get out there? I was going to try to get back to my grandfather's funeral and memorial, but it just didn't work out. It didn't feel right. So I had to put that off. However, I kept, listening to my heart, and I'm like, okay, I got to go visit my grandmother. So what ended up happening was, wow, when I think about the power of spirit and the power of our minds to create what we need, to bring to us what we need, it is phenomenal. I had this in October of that same year. It started raining like crazy in Florence. I'm talking every single day for like 40 days. It was totally like Noah's Ark up in there. People were like the river Arno, the Arno River was raising. People were getting concerned about floods. And my landlord I was renting this beautiful apartment. It was gorgeous. But there was one issue that the landlord just could not get it together to fix. He had 6 months. He went through spring and summer and fall, and he refused to fix a leak. And what ended up happening was we had torrential rain for 40 days, and the whole ceiling started to collapse. The paint started peeling off. The plaster was coming through. There was a skylight. And I remember when I first moved into that place, I said, this skylight has changed. When I first looked at the place the month before, there was no peeling around the skylight. I moved in a month, about 5 weeks later, and there was peeling around the skylight. I'm like, this has changed. You have a leak in this skylight. We need to get that fixed right away, or else it's going to get worse and worse. He ignored it because unfortunately, that was just the way he ran things, you know. Big, beautiful, like a palace, acres of land, beautiful, like the most beautiful location, and a beautiful family, but they just didn't understand that you can't let little stuff, it's not going to go away. And people are not going to tolerate, nobody's going to live in your, like, you know, let you be a slumlord and, you know, have moldy, peeling stuff, like stuff, you don't get away with that, man. So basically, all that stuff happened in November, and then I couldn't live there because I was standing in the bathroom and there was water coming down on my head as I was trying to brush my teeth. And I'm like, all right, so I can't give him any more. He's ignoring me. And now that it's raining, he has an excuse because you cannot fix a leak when it rains. But that's not my responsibility, since I had told him since March 29th, I had everything dated. I had pictures and everything, pictures all along the way of how it had been progressing, you know? So I basically said, look, I got to get out of here. So I took all my stuff out of the apartment and put it in storage. And I said, I'm going to California right now because this is what makes perfectly good sense. He's going to need 4 months to repair that roof because that's how much time it takes. Like, you can't repair a roof when it's raining, and in Florence, it rains through the winter. So I said, I'm going to just leave and let you repair that. And when I come back, that roof better be repaired. And so my spirit said, take 4 months. So I did. I left on November 20th, and I'm scheduled to go back on March 20th. And he basically said, we can't repair the roof. For whatever reason, he's opted out of repairing the roof. So I had to find a new apartment, but that's okay. You know, I don't mind doing that. If he can't figure out how to repair the roof, then that's, you know what, that's on him. There's not anything I can do to, you know, to make him do it. It's just easier for me to go and find another place, and too bad for him because, you know, my rent is not cheap there. So, you know, that's a whole bunch of money that he's lost out on. But this is what happens when you can't, when you're going to be a slumlord and you can't figure out how to get stuff done and you put stuff off. Anyway, the moral of this story, because there is a moral to this story. The moral to the story is following your heart and listening to your intuition is always going to lead you down the right path if you let it. So the joy that I've had, the benefit that I've had, is being in California where the sky is blue and it's been about like 70, 72 degrees every day. And look, I like for, you know, nature to get what she needs. But if she's going to deliver me 4 months of sunny, warm weather, I'm not going to complain, and I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. I'm going to just really enjoy what I have and make the most of it, which is what Apollo and I have been doing, spending our days outside and soaking up the sun, right? So, okay, there you go, 20 minutes. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and sign off. So I'm Crystalline Bell, spiritual life coach. If you're interested in becoming a spiritual life coach, then please book in a discovery session to talk to me about like your vision, what you'd like to create as a spiritual life coach or a healer. And I would be more than happy to talk to you about what I know. You can see I'm real talkative, and you can see I love sharing what I know and my experiences. So I'm more than happy to. You may not know it from this video, but I'm a good listener. I love listening, and I love ideas, and I love helping people give birth to their ideas. My certification program for spiritual life coaches is so fun. It is awesome because not only do you get your own like spiritual life coaching, like you get coached, you go through a whole session, one session, you go through a whole series of sessions just where we're working only on you and your particular issues. Then we go into building your entire spiritual life coaching business so that when you graduate from the program, you actually have a full-blown program with clients and students in it. You have your list of services, you have a website, you have a blog, you have your social media groups, and all that is set up. You have your message down, you've got professional photos. Woo! This sister really knows her stuff. I ain't even gonna lie. I love my work, and I'm talking really loudly. I'm sitting here in this apartment. I'm staying at my uncle's house while I'm here in California. And this room is like, my voice is going right back into my ears. Okay, that means it's time to sign off. So wishing you a blessed day. Book in for a discovery session if you want to learn more about my program. All right, signing off. Bye for now.